Hey guys, how you going? Everyone mentioned today is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and everything I discuss here is theory until proven fact, even if it is. Okay, guys, let's get into it. I just want to clear a couple of things up here. The Gateway pundit said Wall Street Journal claims US lifted restrictions allowing Ukraine to use Western-supplied Storm Shadow missiles for deep strikes inside the Russian territory, and Trump has responded to the Wall Street Journal's behind a paywall report, mind you. And Trump has said the Wall Street Journal story on the USA's approval of Ukraine being allowed to use long-range missiles deep into Russia is fake news. The US has nothing to do with those missiles, wherever they may come from, or what Ukraine does with them, Trump has said on Truth Social. Okay, so believe mainstream news at your own peril. And I wanted to read this, because what the hell? Yeah, exactly. Secret Service agent who never passed a fitness test was moonlighting as a plus-size model. What is going on at the Secret Service? Real Clear Politics is sounding the alarm on the DEI and woke culture still plaguing the Secret Service. According to RCP, Secret Service Chief Sean Curran's personal decisions are raising eyebrows after he promoted one of what? I think they've left a sentence missing, the end of it anyway. Who edited this? Come on, guys. Earlier this month, Curran also promoted disgraced former Director Kimberly Cheadle's Chief of Staff to one of 8 division chiefs in charge of more than 3,000 people. Counter critics argue she's a respected, preeminent cybersecurity expert, Real Clear Politics reporter Susan Crabtree said. Additionally, it was also revealed that one of the Secret Service agents was an overweight woman who also modelled plus-size clothing for plus-size apparel brand Eloquy. DEI policies during Cheadle's tenure pushed 30% recruitment of women by 2030, allowed overweight recruits an agent to moonlight as a plus-size model, trading on her law enforcement status, LGBTQ plus junkets to overseas conferences promoting trans-inclusive culture, and the lowering of physical training standards for transgender agents, rainbow badges, pins, daily online cafe, chat rooms for Latino, Black, LGBTQ plus employees, Susan Crabtree said. Wow. Yes, Chief Sean Curran is committed to reforming the agency's DEI woke culture to make it more woke by the look of it. A Secret Service agent on Kamala Harris's detail never passed a fitness test and was also a plus-size model on the side. Holy cow. The Secret Service needs to be purged. Earlier this month, it was reported that a Secret Service agent fell asleep on the job at the United Nations General Assembly. The unidentified agent also left his fully automatic rifle unattended while taking a bathroom break. The agent was relieved of his duties. Well, thank God for that. Last month, Secret Service agent Anthony Powell said Charlie Kirk, a Christian husband and father to 2 young children, deserved to be murdered in cold blood. Oh, wow, he should be fired. If you are mourning this guy, delete me. He spewed hate and racism on his show, Anthony Powell wrote. You can't circumvent karma. She doesn't. Leave, he said. Last month, it was reported that a Glock stashed in a club member's bag got past Secret Service at President Trump's Virginia golf course while President Trump was golfing there in August. The Secret Service allegedly manually searched the club member's bag and somehow missed the firearm. I'd say they're not real good at their jobs. But hey, that's just me. Who am I? No one. Okay, concerned citizens said this year will provide the highest level of military aid to Ukraine, £4.5 billion. Obviously British. The British people stand forever beside Ukraine, UK Defence Secretary. I don't think you speak for all people in UK, But hey, the UK just had to borrow more money than ever before last month just to service its debt. Now the treasonous government are pledging even more aid to enrich the elites and military-industrial complex. This war is one massive money laundering scam. And I agree. And as for the court case going on with Charlie Kirk, apparently Candace is breaking the gag order that she's not held account to. She's not part of that gag order. That is for witnesses and lawyers and people in the court. It has nothing to do with Candace Owens, so just letting you know that. You can listen to her if you want. I don't tell anyone who to listen to. But just know that there's a lot of people saying they are right-wing when they're not. Or saying they're for Trump and then turning on him. That's what I mean, flip-floppers everywhere. Fan Trump Army alert in a bombshell move. President Trump has signed National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, declaring BLM and Antifa as domestic terrorist organisations and ordering a full-scale crackdown on them. He's actually signed it now. He's got his pen, he's signing it, okay? Mega Voice said, holy shit, here's exclusive video inside Antifa's safe house located in Portland. Expose them all. Let's have a look. Looks like a shop front to me.
Get the fuck back.
What are you
bitch.
doing? What are you doing?
That's what I thought.
I'm just checking it out. I'm on a public sidewalk. Close the window if you don't want to see in. There you go.
You're so fucking closeted gay.
You're ugly.
You're a fag.
You look stupid.
What
You're
else
a
you got
fucking-
in
Wait,
there?
can we
huh?
talk? This
Huh?
is live?
Wow. Yeah, they look like a bunch of soy boys. Hey, just me again. Just my opinion.
Going into the Antifa safe house. Yup.
Why the fuck you stalking women? Fucking minors and shit. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Why are you stalking this person?
She assaulted me.
She assaulted you? Do you have proof of that?
Yeah, my black eye.
Your black guy? You didn't just
You don't
like,
have a black eye. I don't see
get
it.
hit by your boyfriend or something?
All right. The assault suspect is in the safe house.
Assault suspect? Are you out now? Are you able to designate someone as a suspect?
The assault suspect is in the safe house. Get away from me.
God, look at them all. Bunch of weirdos. MJ Truth Ultra said, holy shizzles, no kings, financials revealed. The financiers are Arabella, 79 million, Warren Buffett at 16 million, Ford at 51 million, Rockefeller at 26 million, Soros at 72 million, and Tides at 45 million. 294 million, 487,641. Wow. That's a lot. Okay, Elon Musk said terrible. Michael O'Keefe said City West, the African man arrested for attacking a 10-year-old Irish girl earlier today, is a failed asylum seeker with an active deportation order since March. This man should not have been in Ireland. Wow, he arrived in Ireland 6 years ago and failed in his application for international protection in 2024. He's been the subject of a deportation order since March of this year. Who's not doing their job? That's what I would like to know. Eric Doherty said, breaking, President Trump, I looked at the polls, looks like we're going to have a communist as the mayor of New York. Here's the good news, he's got to go through the White House. If Sliwa dropped out, he's not going to win and not looking too good for Cuomo either. But maybe, I don't know, if Sliwa dropped out, maybe Cuomo could have a little bit of a chance, but not much. Would I rather have a Democrat or a communist? I would rather have a Democrat. And with the communist in charge, look, just go back 1,000 years. I mean, it's been done many times. 1,000 years, it's never worked once. Okay, Melinda Richards said Australia's ambassador to the United States talking trash trash talking the President of the United States. There's like 1 minute of it.
Trump, at present, represents a political liability for both sides of Australian politics. So if you're going to defend the proposition of an alliance with the United States, for the future, it has to be done in terms of the alliance is intrinsically valuable, whatever the future may hold, and Trump's only around for another 3 years, maybe less, depending on the midterms.
Well, that was in October 2017. Trump was president at the time. Unwise remarks from a former Australian Prime Minister with clearly little understanding of American politics and of the immense support that Trump had amassed. But it gets worse. Rudd claimed Trump was a problem for the world.
This guy is a problem. He is an objective problem for the world, for the region, for my country. And of course, not as an American, I will not comment on the problem he represents to the United States domestically. So he's a buzzword.
And in other stunning comments, Rudd also urged the Republican Party to remove Trump.
That the Republican Party, which enabled this guy to be elected, have a deep responsibility to accept responsibility for the consequence of their actions and begin the processes for one form or another of his removal by constitutional means.
Isn't it ironic that that advice...
He's all to protect himself, I believe. That the only danger that Trump poses to Australia is these morons. David J. Harris Jr. said amazing right after the court allowed Trump to deploy troops to Portland. Clean-up crews moved in. The Antifa encampment outside the ICE facility was suddenly cleared out. Perfect timing. The streets clean up fast when leadership steps in. That's the way. Okay, Tommy Robinson, and I'm just reporting on it because that's what's happening. Irish patriots on horseback with screams of "This is our land" as thousands hit the streets of Dublin following a sex attack on a 10-year-old child by an invader. Awakened Outlaw said some folks won't come right out and admit to having been fake MAGA plants all along, but there will be signs, exactly. The Patriotic Blonde, this person is one of them, I believe. Patriots have come to a conclusion. Trump is not suddenly incompetent. Trump is not simply misguided. Trump is not being too trusting of the wrong people. Trump is not being poorly advised. Trump was a psyop we fell for at One World Government incoming. People like this, and Candace Owens, they're plants. But anyway, cynical Publius said, so we today have generals and admirals slithering to the press anonymously complaining about Sec War reading them the Riot Act over their incompetence and organisational failures. Let me explain why I take this so very, very personally. I served under Bill Clinton. I hated him as my commander-in-chief and thought his poor leadership and social engineering, such as don't ask, don't tell, and placing women in high-G combat aircraft were destroying our military. But all of his orders were lawful and I followed my oath to the letter. He was my commander-in-chief and I respected the fact that the American people had selected him for that role. You never heard me utter a single peep against him, neither publicly nor in private. I honoured my oath. Pretty much every officer I knew felt and acted the exact same way. Even though I retired just before Obama took office, I know for certain that the exact same thing happened with the officers who served under him. We did our jobs, honoured our oaths, showed the respect of the office deserved, and never engaged in the sort of anonymous public insubordination we see now. We did the same for the rest of our chain of command, even when incompetent, such as Les Aspin and Leon Panetta was serving as SecDef. That is not what is happening now. The fact that these political perfumed prince snakes in the grass wearing stars today even exist affirms something that so many have long suspected, that the Obama-Biden years infected our senior military ranks with men and women not emotionally or ethically qualified for such a high rank. The purge of these oath-breakers cannot come soon enough. Okay, that's just someone who's been in the position, talking about others who are in that position now. Joe M. said, you're told demolishing the East Wing is about building a new ballroom. What if I told you it was about demolishing underground tunnels? You're told the shutdown is due to inability for R's and D's to reach an agreement. What if I told you it was about recess appointments for Trump judges who will be overseeing the legal takedown of the cabal? Much is happening. There's a lot we don't see behind the scenes that's going on as well. Alexandra Marshall said a tourist said having been to Sydney and Melbourne, they don't feel like they have come to Australia. That as a country, we've lost our Aussie character. We've become a city of foreigners where English is being pushed to the fringes and mateship is now a distant memory for the decreasing native population who are being separated by the masses of new arrivals. This is a crime against the Australian people who never, ever voted for their culture to be watered down and replaced by multiculturalism. And Frey said, I finally did it. Someone was talking on the phone with a loudspeaker sitting close to me while we were inside the bus. So I joined the conversation with full confidence. When she gave me that, are you mad look? I said, sorry, I thought it was a group call, since you put it on loudspeaker for all of us. She quietly told the person, I'll call you back, and ended the call immediately. Is that how you handle people on loudspeaker in public? Join in the conversation, see what happens. Oh, I thought that was quite funny, actually. Sorry. Just put that one in because it was funny. Awakened Outlaw said, I'm Trump or bust. MFers always have been. Where are you at? Yep, I'm all in. Have been for years now. It doesn't mean I agree with every single thing he says or does, but I'm all Trump. All in for Trump. Open source intel said Israel dividing Gaza into two zones is a fascinating strategic play. This is going to be interesting. The section under Israeli control will likely see rapid development with international backing. The Hamas control areas will struggle to access any construction materials. At some point, Gazans will have to decide, build a normal life or stay under Hamas rule. Expect internal unrest soon. We're going to slowly watch this unfold and it will be very interesting. I'll say that's going to be the most interesting thing. Seriously. That would be quite interesting. I can't wait to see that. Remix news and views. If you want to wear a burqa, there's a good solution. Catch a flight and go back to your country. It's easy to get to Portela Airport and buy a ticket back to Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, wherever you want. Chega leader Andre Ventura speaks after the Portuguese Parliament approved a bill banning the Islamic face covering. Once passed into law, those wearing face veils in public face a fine of up to €4,000. Way to go, mate. I agree. Here in Australia, if you want to wear a burqa, a hijab, a hijab, or whatever it's bloody well called, catch a flight, go back to your country and wear it over there. Sonny Boy said Dems are now pushing the lie that an innocent Colombian fisherman was killed in the latest drug strike. What fisherman fishes with a submarine? Let's have a listen.
The Colombian president says that the U.S. killed an innocent Colombian fisherman in one of the strikes.
Yeah, they said that when we shot down a submarine, that they were just fishing. This is a submarine.
No, this was
a submarine that was meant, by the way, this was a submarine that was meant for one reason and made for one reason, to carry massive amounts of drugs.
The Colombian president says...
Okay, that was a drug thing. Yeah, because what fisherman fishes out of a submarine? Come on now. They think we're stupid. Kelly Loeffler said every week the shutdown continues. The US economy loses $15 billion and by the end of the month it'll have lost 43,000 jobs. By voting against a clean funding bill, Senate Dems are trying to stop President Trump's historic economic growth at the expense of Main Street. Okay, X22 report said Trump saving the Insurrection Act for closer to the midterms. Now, this is a prediction. That's when the protests are going to become increasingly violent. The Dems are testing the water. So we'll see. Yeah, you can use the Insurrection Act. Hunter Eagleman said Americans are speaking loud and clear. The Schumer shutdown is on the Dems 100%. Even CNN. Are they saying it too? I don't know. He's going down, down, something down. I don't want to hear it. Recovering Woke said, did you know Jenna Griswold made her employees sign NDAs to cover up her failures? Even worse, did you know the is a Colorado legislature could have passed a bill preventing public employees from signing NDAs and it was shot down by Dems. Colorado Dems want to be able to be shady and cover it up. And again in Colorado has the highest increase in home insurance in the entire country. And what was Colorado Dems' proposed solution to make home insurance more affordable? A new tax on home insurance. It didn't pass, but still Dems have no real solution to everything being so expensive here. Wow. Carp Donktum said, celebrity, I've been thinking about blowing up the White House. Dems, wild applause. Trump, I'm building a new ballroom at the White House. Dems, hysterical crying. Sounds about right. Based Hungary said breaking. Marine Le Pen set to replace Macron soon. France will take all the necessary steps. Radical mosques will be closed. Hate preachers will be expelled. Salafism and the Muslim Brotherhood will be liquidated. Sorry, guys. Had a bit of a hiccup there. Okay. I hope she does get in. C3 said teachers like Lucy Martinez make $103,839 a year. Democrat-run Chicago has increased spending by 97%, while math and reading scores have plummeted by 78% and 63% since 2012. Only 11% of Chicago high school students are proficient in reading. Dems are activists, not educators. And this was one of a teacher making fun of Charlie Kirk's murder. Wow. Yeah, it's not showing so good, is it? Okay, and 7 News Australia, I'm not going to like this post, I'm just reporting it. Allegedly, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's plane from the US back to Australia has been forced to make an unplanned landing. Albanese's flight left Washington on Wednesday morning Australian Eastern Standard Time, but landed at St. Louis Lambert International Airport in Missouri after a crew member on the RAAF flight is believed to have been injured. The individual was hit in the head by luggage from the overhead locker and suffered a concussion. They're being taken to hospital. Let's hope it's Kevin Rudd. Okay, don't like that one. Mark PG said all the lefty politicians are patting themselves on the back with their newfound love of Donald Trump because of Albanese's success in the Oval Office. Those same lefties a short while ago during the election painted anyone who dared to mention Trump's name as a traitor to Australia, and now they're cheering him. They don't even make sense, the left. Malcolm Roberts said this applies down under, just replace Germany with Australia, EU with UN, MERS with Albanese and Lay, German captains of industry who are now complaining were previously blithely nodding agreement. Gutless, dishonest, stupid politicians, UN bureaucrats and captains of industry. The Islanders said the Financial Times finally said the quiet part out loud. Germany is collapsing and the EU helped push it off the cliff. Steel plants are closing, car factories are shrinking, business leaders are openly furious. The so-called sick man of Europe is sick again, but this time the disease isn't inefficiency, it's economic suicide engineered by unelected EU elites and enforced by obedient puppets like Frederick Merz. Merz wants €500 billion to rescue industry, but from what? From his policies his party endorsed. German output is crashing, energy prices are unlivable, bureaucratic strangulation kills investment, and while Merz beats the drum for a forever war in Ukraine, what was Berlin's lifeline? Nord Stream, blown up, sabotaged with a shrug while Brussels and NATO pleaded the fifth. The US may have benefited, but the executioner stood in Brussels. Ursula von der Leyen and the Eurocrat cast led the charge. Deindustrialise Germany, sanction Moscow and send tanks to Ukraine while the German worker foots the bill. For what? Kiev was always going to lose, yet EU elites demand more tribute, more weapons, more factories, more pain. And now, German steel production down 12%, 12 million fewer cars made than in 2017, green levies and gas rationing, US tariffs slap Germany while Berlin stays muzzled. The result? Revolt. In NRW, once CDU heartland, AfD now surges. Germans are waking up. They see who hollowed out their economy. It wasn't Russia. It was their own leaders in Brussels and Berlin, marching to Davos drumbeats. Germany isn't testing Europe's patience. Europe's elites tested Germany's limits and they snapped them. There you go. Very interesting. Timbo said Albanese giggles along with Trump. Watch how quickly Albanese throws Kevin Rudd under the bus. I don't think that you can ever see this too many times. Kevin Rudd, White House slap down.
Seated at the White House cabinet room table, almost directly across from the US president, whom he has variously described over the years as the most destructive president in history and a traitor to the West. For
as we've seen in the earlier film clip.
Perhaps the first time in his life, Kevin Rudd was quiet, polite, subdued, sitting there like a schoolboy at the headmaster's table, hoping no one would remember that he'd once graffitied "I hate the principal" on the toilet wall. And for a while there, it looked like Kevin Rudd might just get away with it. I suspect Kevin Rudd even allowed himself. Rudd was.
Can I have it without this guy's?
Colleague Andrew Clennell asked a question. Now, you've probably seen it, but let's be honest. I don't think you can ever see this too many times.
Been concerned in Australia that it's taken 9 months to get this meeting. Have you had any concerns with this administration, with its stance on Palestine, climate change, or even things the ambassador said about you in the past, the Australian ambassador?
I don't know anything about him. I mean, if he said bad, then maybe he'll like to apologize. I really don't know. Did an ambassador say something bad about him? Don't tell me. I don't know. Where is he? Is he still working for you?
Yeah.
You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will.
That wasn't just a slip.
There you go. Gunther Eagleman said, wow, so there's an Antifa communist running for Senate in Maine with a literal Nazi symbol tattooed on his chest. 0 elected Democrats have denounced this, but they all melted down over Pete Hegseth's Christian tattoos. Bernie Sanders is refusing to condemn this, and it's actually ramping up support for this guy. This is a Democrat party in 2025, communists and Nazis, allegedly. I don't know. Neo-Nazi symbol, allegedly. Okay. Julie Donuts said, do you know how many millions and millions of people get scans and MRIs with contrast? I have to get it without. I have a reaction to it. Like it's no big deal. The contrast is called gadolinium. Now go look up the dangers of gadolinium. It's a heavy metal. The risks of poisoning are off the charts. They do not tell you this. I got my blood work back and I'm gadolinium and lead poisoned. Go to ER with seizure-like activity, get a CT scan with contrast, leave poisoned, making anything that was wrong 10 times worse. It's a long story, but I will say this. Think again about MRI CT scans with contrast. Ask questions and look into it for yourself. They are not in the business to heal or cure, allegedly. Go see a doctor if pain persists. I'm not a doctor. They are in the business to make money on us being sick. You do not hate them enough. But yeah, I'd have a look at that for sure. Mark Rowley said Trump and Albanese are worlds apart. On the surface, the White House meeting between US President Donald Trump and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was framed by the media as a friendly diplomatic success. Photos were exchanged, signatures on paper, smiles all around. But scratch just a little beneath that polished surface and it becomes clear. This was no meeting of like minds. It was a transactional encounter between two leaders who approached the world and each other with fundamentally different values and agendas. Trump opened by calling Albanese a friend and praising Australia as an amazing ally, but no amount of scripted praise could mask the tension in the room. Most obviously when Trump turned to Australian Ambassador and former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd and bluntly declared, I don't like you either and I probably never will. And I don't blame Trump. It was a glimpse of the true tone of the meeting, sharp edges disguised by diplomatic theatre. Yes, the pair signed a deal on rare earths and critical minerals, an $8.5 billion pipeline meant to counter China's stranglehold on global supply chains. But this was not about shared vision or partnership. This was about leverage. Trump used the moment to showcase his America First economics, while Albanese clung to the deal to secure access and relevance in Washington. The same was true of AUKUS, the nuclear submarine pact that has become central to Australia's defence posture. Albanese came to Washington seeking reassurance it wouldn't be derailed. Trump simply shrugged and confirmed it was still in motion for now. In other words, Australia may stay in the club, but only as long as it suits American interests under Trump. Any illusion of balanced partnership is just that, illusion. Even Albanese's praise for Trump's efforts in the Middle East sounded more like tactical flattery than genuine admiration. These two leaders do not share ideology, temperament or worldview. Trump thrives on confrontation and loyalty tests. Albanese sells consensus and social equity. Their handshake may have been warm for the cameras, but the distance between them was obvious to anyone paying attention. So don't buy the media headlines about friendship and positive talks. This meeting was a reminder of geopolitical reality. Nations don't have friends, they have interests. Trump knows this, Albanese knows this. And despite the polite theatre, both men walked away knowing they stand on opposite sides of almost everything except necessity. What happened in Washington wasn't a celebration of alliance, it was negotiation between opposites wrapped in a photo op. Last one. Rob Smith said, "Dear President Trump, I hope this letter finds you well amidst your continued leadership on the world stage. I'm writing as a concerned Australian citizen who watched yesterday's meeting between you and Prime Minister Anthony Albanese with great interest. While the optics were positive, I must regrettably inform you that Albanese played you today." I don't think he did. I think that Trump knows. He's a known liar, and the commitments he made, particularly regarding the supply of critical minerals, ring hollow. Albanese has zero plans of truly supplying the United States with critical minerals you need to counter China's dominance. His obsession with net zero fantasies will ensure that. These policies are strangling our energy sector and making it impossible to ramp up production without massive government intervention. Did Albanese mention that he's already sent Australia's aluminium industry to the brink of collapse through his engineered energy crisis? Taxpayers are now propping it up with billions in subsidies to prevent smelters from shutting down entirely. Just this year, his government pledged $2 billion in green aluminium production credits to keep the lights on in these facilities, a direct admission of the damage his policies have caused. And what about the skyrocketing electricity costs under his watch? Since Albanese was elected in 2022, household power bills have surged by over 43%, despite his pre-election promises to cut them by $275 annually. This isn't just rhetoric, it's the harsh reality for Australian families and businesses struggling under his failed energy transition. Furthermore, did Albanese disclose the true barriers to mining these minerals? Most of Australia, over 40% of the landmass, is locked up under native title agreements, where even attempting to dig for resources can lead to endless legal battles, protests and shutdowns. Native title holders have significant negotiation rights, and without their full buy-in, projects grind to a halt. You'll be run out of town before the first shovel hits the dirt. I'm sorry to say this, Mr. President, but Albanese lied to you, directly to your face while you praised him as a great leader. No, I don't think he meant what he said there, like great leader. I think he was being very diplomatic. The $8.5 billion rare earths deal sounds impressive on paper, but it's built on sand. The fact that he's a card-carrying socialist hell-bent on turning Australia into a Venezuelan-style cautionary tale of over-regulation, energy poverty and economic decline. His policies prioritise ideology over reality. You deserve better partners in this fight against China. Please, for the sake of our alliance and your vision for American strength, scrutinise these promises closely. Australia can be a reliable ally, but only if we rid ourselves of leaders like Albanese, who prioritise green dreams over hard facts. Thank you for your time and for always putting America first. I wish you every success in your endeavours. Sincerely, Robert. And I agree with a lot of what he says, but I think Trump knows. Trump didn't go into that with a blindfold on. He knows. That's just my opinion, though. Okay, guys, you can let me know what you think about all this down below. I hope you have a good morning, afternoon or evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.